Welcome back to, this will be video 11 in our How It's Made videos. And I wasn't planning on doing this this part for video 11 because we were going to right to mounting the guards to the blades. But we got a few ideas while we're working this that I thought would be a good video. So wanted to bring these out, especially for if you guys are makers and you're following along and you want to see some lessons learned. So if you go back to video 7, 8, and 9, that is all about how we are making our standard guards. We had to kind of sidetrack there because we were waiting on the material for this guy, which is the guard for our longsword that we're following through this video series. So in video 10, last video, we actually got the material in, we cut the guard slot, and here we have the guard almost finished with the rough shaping, and here's where we're picking up for this video. We also have a couple other guards going. We got this big honking thing. If you're familiar with Excalibur, might look familiar to you. So that's another exciting piece we're working on now. So keep an eye out for pictures of that when that's done. But for this one, it's a pretty complicated guard. And if you recall, in the last video, so I start with this big honking piece. So this is 1 inch by 3/4 stainless that we're using for this particular guard. And this is actually the cutoff of the edge of this. And basically what we had to do to get down, because this whole thing used to be 3/4 thick, and it's nice and smooth curved at the moment because we ground it out, but basically we bandsaw cut chunks out of each of the 4 corners, and then we rough ground it into the shape it is now in this dimension. Now in this dimension, we also had to grind it into a bow tie shape. So there's not a single facet or side or piece of this blade that is a flat shape. Everything's tapered or angled, so it's a pretty complex and complicated guard. So there's our next 2 steps. So actually the next step is we had to finish all the rough grinding, so we still have a little bit more to do on it. But before we get there, there's 2 other things we need to do. One is, if you remember, this guard is currently flat in this dimension, right? So the blade will be going this way, and then currently it's flat. But the real piece, the original one that we're trying to copy, kind of does a slight S-curve to it. So we're going to do some hot work in to curve the guard pieces up. The other thing is, each of the flat sections have this pretty complicated pattern of cutouts to really take some weight out, and it's really fancy, really pops out. So you'd think, and here's where the order of operations can sometimes mess you up, you'd think that you would want to mill when the piece is flat, right? So because it's flat right now, I can set it, clamp it in my mill, and then mill out my pieces, and mill out the details, and then heat it up and bend it. And you can do that, but it becomes quite a pain unless you have a form that you're bending it over. If you don't have a form, and we don't, we're just bending it by hand and with heat in hand. Then when you start bending something with cutouts in it, it doesn't bend evenly. So what we're going to do, and also because the bend is pretty shallow, we're actually going to heat up and do the bend first, and then do the cutouts second. And if you do it the other way around, it'll bite you in the butt. So just as a good example. So yeah, our next step is in probably our next video. We might be finished with this in the next video because I know it's taking a while. We're already on video 11, and we want to keep going to get to the final blade. But we have to shrink down. We have to go to smaller wheels and to do our more detailed rough grind in, and then the guard will be all ready. We'll do the bends, we'll do the cutouts, and then we'll mount her up to the blade, which is right here. So there we go. So that'll be the blade. Hopefully I'm not hitting the fan there. So then we have the pommel material and the guard coming. So thanks for watching and following, and pick us up on our next video, and hopefully it'll be out. Again, this is something we're doing in the background of all of our normal work, so we're just kind of fitting this in as we can, which is why the videos sometimes take a couple weeks to come out. But thanks again, and we'll see you in the next video.